Hello, hello, Dr. Uche back again to hang out with you. I'm your friendly publisher, book reviewer, biography writing coach, and a real life physician as a title. But I come on these platforms to discuss tips to help you on your journey to writing your biography. I also do book reviews highlighting works of fiction from across the diaspora and also giving sessions, or I should say, doing children's read aloud sessions because I love to champion literacy and reading, the fun and the benefits of all that. Today, though, I'm going to be sharing very interesting tips today, a set of tips to help you write your biography, a topic that I think is very interesting. I hope you'll agree. And before I do that, go ahead and hit subscribe and the notification bell so you'll know when I upload new videos. That's if you're watching this on YouTube, okay? All right. Well, where are my friends in their 20s? I am talking to you today because if you follow my videos, you may say, well, what about me? What about us? She talks a lot about 30s and 40s. Well, I'm in my very early 40s, so it makes sense I kind of talk to people around my age. But if you're in your 20s, what could you be doing today to put you in good stead to write your autobiography at some point within the next decade or two? That's what I'm talking about today, okay? Let's dig right in. What could you be doing if you're in your 20s or even late teens, right? And someday you actually want to do this. You actually want to write your life story, which I think is a brilliant idea. So I have some pointers for you that I've written down here, and I'm going to refer to this sheet of paper here. Don't want to forget anything. The first, guess what? Journal a lot. Keep diaries, keep journals, write what you're doing. Write how you're thinking at this time, the things that bother you, the things that concern you, the things you accomplished, the things you weren't able to do, relationships, all that. Write a lot. Write a lot, journal a lot. Have a dedicated journal every year. When the year is over, hey, get a new one. Fill it in as much as you can. You will find that helpful sometime in the future. You can go back and remember how the 22-year-old you used to think, right? When you're in about 40. And it'd be very interesting to see your mindset, the things you were worrying about. Because when it comes to writing your autobiography, that particular phase in time, you really want to focus on that phase in time, the concerns you had then. So journal, write a lot. That's the first thing you could do to put yourself in good stead for writing your life history in another decade or two. That's if you're in your 20s as we speak. So the second thing, start getting acquainted with your family tree, the people who came before you. Who was the mother to who? Who was your grandmother on your dad's side or your paternal great-grandfather? Start figuring out, start asking, start writing it down. It might be that there comes the time when you want to write and the folks who know that history are no longer there, right? They're often the much older people. You might be 40 and find they're 80 and 90s, and they're no longer in the right frame of mind to even give you a coherent account. So start to collect that information. Write it down or in your journal, wherever you write. Say, hey, I learned today that on my mother's side, we descended from here. We arrived in Chicago 10 generations ago. Start writing all that down. Start putting it down. That's going to come in handy, okay? Ask lots of people, pay attention to the older folks because over the next decade or two, we may not have them, okay? That is human life expectancy, right? Rarely would you find people in their 90s, right? 80s, it's thinning out already, right? So start to talk to those people and start to collect what they know, okay? So the next thing, start organizing old pictures. They get missing, they get lost, they get misplaced. So if you're somebody who's internet savvy or electronic savvy, start to, if you're my age group when we were kids, when we were teens, and even well into our early 20s, there wasn't so much electronic media, right? So we have a lot of pictures that are not like on a smartphone for my younger folks. I'm trying to explain myself, right? There was a time when pictures were not all on smartphones. So start to digitize these images if you can right now. Start to organize them so when the time comes, you have them all set up, you have them stored, you have them in a system where they're not going to be tampered with or damaged, okay? Old pictures help juggle the memory because when you look at a picture, you're like, oh, who's in this picture? When was it taken? What was going on? Where did we live? Who's that person next to me in this picture? You know, it juggles memory. The memory, it spurs conversation. So you really want to start organizing those old pictures. So fourthly, this is going to date me a little bit because there was a time when we wrote letters. It wasn't just email, right? There was a time email was not in existence. And I would say well into the 90s, there was probably a lot more letter writing than emailing. So if you can find those old letters, if you have people who kept them, collect them, start to organize them. Okay, that's the other thing you could do. There's a very nice way you could use it in your autobiography. So organize the letters, print out emails. You can actually go into the search bar in your email and type up somebody's name, and you can pull up old emails they sent dating back over a decade ago. You may find it useful to print out some of those emails. So that's something that you could do as well. Okay, so that's the fourth thing, and I'm just going to recap the four things you could be doing today in your 20s or even in your late teens if you want to put yourself in good stead to someday write an autobiography, say in the next decade or two. Okay, the first thing, start to journal a lot. Make it a habit. Keep a diary, keep a journal, write a lot, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what's happening in your life, and so on and so forth. Number two, get acquainted with your family members, especially who are older. Start asking about your family tree, who descended from who, and write it down. Okay, don't take anything for granted. There might come a time when these folks are no longer there to give you that information, or they might be there but very elderly and really not in the right frame of mind to give you what you need. Third, start to organize old pictures, digitize them, find a system, put them together so when the time comes, you can use them. And fourth and finally, oops, it dates me a bit, but look up old letters, okay? There was a time we did more letter writing. Look up old letters, organize them. You can even print out old emails. Who knows, right? I don't know what the email system is going to do in 30 years, right? You could search and print out old emails and have a stash of them somewhere, okay? All right, I hope that's helpful. That's for you, my friend, in your 20s or even very late teens who's like, I want to write my story someday, but she never speaks to me. She's always talking to folks in their 30s and 40s. Well, I'm on your side. I hope the session today was helpful. So this is what you could be doing even today in your 20s to put yourself in good stead to someday, over the next decade or two, write your own smashing autobiography. This is Dr. Uche. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the notification bell if you're watching this on YouTube. I love a thumbs up. Share freely with your family and friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Ta-da.